Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hold it, you're not that pretty. All right, man. Wait. I shook up the wall.
I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the Bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody.
How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Split Decision episode 84. With me today, I have the one and only Bill Haney. How you doing, Bill?
Blessed by the best and praying for the rest, brother. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure having you like always. And you already know what time it is. The hottest topic right now that's trending is Devin Haney and Lomachenko going back and forth on Twitter, agreeing to fight next. So where do we stand at this fight? Have any development took place?
Well, I mean, that's one thing. The first part is getting the fighters to agree to fight, and then you got to get the teams to agree on the terms. So, we did our due diligence. We've reached out to their team, and now we're just waiting to see what happens next to see if he's truly available. Because it's one thing for fighters to say something on Twitter or to say something, on Instagram or publicly in interviews. So, what Lomachenko has always did is operated through his team. This is one of the few times that you've heard him say something on Twitter, so now it's about just his team being on the same page as him.
Is there any, details you could reveal as far as the conversation you had with Eddie Hearn, as far as making this fight happen?
No, the thing that like I said, is you got two fighters who have agreed to fight. You know what I mean? So I don't want to step on anyone's toes right now, and create bad blood in the sense of it not happening on the business side of it. So only thing I can do is just let the people know that we're working at making it happen. You know what I mean? And then just give it to you as it develops.
Right. Well, Barbershop Conversation had a conversation with Bob Arum in which Bob revealed that he's very interested in the Devin Haney fight for Lomachenko. So as far as we know, Bob Arum shouldn't be the roadblock to making this fight. Matter of fact, he actually likes this fight. So if Loma interested, if Bob is interested, and you guys interested, this should be the next fight. Absolutely.
That's the optimism that we're carrying with it, But like anything it's not done until it's done. So we did our part. Of course they've never reached out to us about making a fight happen. We're reaching out to them, and we'll go from there.
Now, you don't mind revealing who you reached out to? Is it Top Rank? Is it Lomachenko manager, or Lomachenko, Bob.
Well, we've heard, the rhetoric that Bob has talked about before in terms of me talking to him about making a fight happen, and he said that he prefers to talk to Eddie. I reached out to the manager myself. I do my due diligence, and I reach out, as a manager reaching to another manager. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Teofimo Lopez, he said that Devin Haney is not going to fight Lomachenko, that he's ducking Lomachenko when it's obviously the other way around, because we know their history of Lomachenko requesting a franchise title to avoid Devin Haney. And Teofimo knows that better than I do. So what's your thoughts on his comments that he claiming no one is going to fight Lomachenko? They all afraid of him, including Devin Haney. What's your thoughts on what Teo had to say?
Well, I mean, if Teofimo has a fight with George Kambosos, and he doesn't want to fight Devin Haney, and he's not assuring, he's not assuring that whoever Devin fights next is going to be his opponent for sure, right? And he's not guaranteeing that Devin is going to be his next opponent. Then he needs to mind his own business, and concentrate on Kambosos and driving traffic to his event instead of, undermining us in any way.
Didn't you have a conversation with his father, Senior? I think it was on the Boxing Voice or somewhere, in which Senior acknowledged that Lomachenko avoided your son, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But the thing about that is that kind of talk is in the past. Right now, we're focusing on making the fight happen. You know what I mean. I don't want to do anything to disappoint anyone and convolute the message. Right now, we reached out to their team, right? Per Lomachenko's request. So we need to see. We need to just see from there. You know what I mean? And until I receive something from his team, or that I receive a message from Eddie that he's received something, you know what I mean? The only thing we can do now is keep our fingers crossed.
As far as Jamal Charlo said that the franchise title originated with him, then Lomachenko took a page out of the pioneer Canelo Alvarez with the franchise title when it comes to having a dangerous mandatory. What's your thoughts on the franchise title designation at this moment in time?
Well, I mean, the franchise designation was designed for what it was just designed for, was to quote unquote make the fight happen that's big. They chose to make a fight happen to unify the WBO, the IBF, and the franchise title. What I always have been very consistent with is that's fine. But when you add a fifth belt, then to be a true unification, a true undisputed, then you need that other belt. You can't exclude that belt. You have to keep that in there. And especially because, Lomachenko received the franchise title without ever defending the WBC title and without ever having a mandatory. So, the fifth belt, if we're going to consider the franchise as a belt that's part of undisputed, then we have to make it 5 belts instead of 4, in my personal opinion.
Right. Now, obviously, the designation is for the franchise to make the biggest fights happen, but they not heading in that direction, making the Avini fight, and like Charlo pointed out, not making his fight happen with Canelo. That's not making the biggest fights, and we see the same thing repeat in other divisions. Now, Ryan have now officially announced that the Pacquiao fight is off. He blaming it on Pacquiao when Pacquiao was stripped of his WBA title because he wanted this fight. Ryan also pulled out of the tank negotiations. So what do you think is next for Ryan, and where do you think Ryan stands as the Devin Haney mandatory? I know he has the interim title. So does he end up getting to lose his position just like Fortuna? Does he end I know Fortuna lost his position of being mandatory. Does the same thing happen to the interim champion as well?
It's one of those things that are unheard of, that the mandatory who fights for the interim belt would then not want to fight the the world champion. You know, so I mean, it's a thing that has, I mean, it's unprecedented. You know, have you ever heard of it?
I mean, well, Ryan said he already a champion if he want to call himself a champion. You know, I mean, you know, so yeah, I mean, I never heard of that.
Well, I mean, he's an interim champion, which meant if Devin didn't want to fight him, then he could petition to become full world champion. You know, and that's no different than what Devin was when Devin was the interim champion and Lomachenko was the full world champion. So, you know, he's an interim champion and he has options to push up on the world champion. And so far, that's not what he's doing.
That's right. And we have a super chat real quick. Devin need to slap T-Ho after this fight. Something disrespectful to make him fight, because I know Devin gonna pull up on him. Next, go Devin.
Well, absolutely. T.O. needs to focus on his business with Kambosos. That's the business that he wanted to do. That's the business he's been very adamant about. You know what I mean? So what's the talk about Devin? Why keep talking about Devin if you're not going to fight him?
Now, what's your thought on Tio Lopez saying he will be a free agent soon? Beliefs Top Rank giving him a golden ticket out of his contract. What's your thoughts on, you know, obviously they have a war going on between Top Rank and Tio at the moment in time. So what do you think is going to happen?
It's a great time to be in the Devin Haney business.
So is he going to take a page out of Devin Haney and become a free agent? Or I mean, not a free agent, but more so partner with maybe a DAZN or Triller and buy himself out of his contract with Top Rank?
I love being in Devin Haney's business. It's a great time to be in the Devin Haney business.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, obviously, I posted a poll and I asked, is Lomachenko, is he going to accept the fight with Devin Haney once it's on paper? And 47% voted hell no. 53% voted yes, but nearly 90% voted that they want to see this fight next. So how optimistic how optimistic is Team Haney on this fight coming to fruition? Because you guys know things that we don't, or previous to talking to the other side, to the other team, which is Team Lomachenko. Now they haven't responded to you guys, which is from the outside looking in, it's not looking too good. And it's not promising. So, today you say what?
Well, I want to roll with the 53%, and I want to stay optimistic about it. You know what I mean? I don't want to cast a dark cloud on it right now. You know, we did our due diligence, like I just said, of reaching out to them. You know what I mean? Now it's about them reaching back at us and us coming to terms. You know, an agreement. You know, that's all that you can do, you know. Prior to this, you know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, we weren't even here. You know, we weren't even at the point where Loma openly agreed to the fight, where we could reach out and discuss it. You know what I mean? The fight wasn't on the table. So we thought, so now that he has said that, you know, we believe that the fight is on the table. We've reached out and did our due diligence, both Eddie as the promoter, and then me as a manager.
Well, you know, that's all good and dandy, but talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. And, you know, if Loma team is not responding, that's not a positive sign. But I would like to know, what does the network DAZN think about this fight and Eddie Hearn when it comes to the Lomachenko fight? Do they want this fight? Are they going to push for this fight? Are they on board? What does DAZN and Eddie think of this fight, Lomachenko versus Devin?
Well, it's like, to me, in my personal opinion, it would be just like saying, are they interested in a Devin and Earl Spence fight, so to speak, right? You know, you can ask, are they interested? I'm sure they're interested in a lot of different fights, but until you can actually, you know, get the teams, you know, the fighters to agree to fight, the teams to agree to negotiate, you know what I mean? Because Lomachenko is with Bob Arum, right? So I think he has to, I guess go through Bob Arum, right? Or he has to agree with Bob Arum, or Bob Arum has to agree with him, or whatever their personal business is. I don't know. Like I said, but we've reached out, and that's a major milestone for us in terms of being close to the fight with Lomachenko.
Yeah, well, Bob Arum, he allowed Lomachenko to take a dangerous fight after coming off a loss with Gary Russell and go to a different network. Hopefully, he allow him to do the same. At the moment in time, there's talks of Nakatani as a potential opponent for Lomachenko, as far as what I heard. But obviously, the fight that the world want to see that's going to save the year since 2021 looked like a dry year. Is Lomachenko versus Devin Haney. Now, there's a super chat. Stone said, if Loma ducks, is AB an option? Adrian Broner.
What's happening with you, Steezy? Shout out to Stone, my brother in Oakland, man. Representing that blunt funk, man. But that is a great question. Of course, like the people would love to see, AB. I've been a big fan of AB for many years. Devin has had history with AB. I wouldn't say that AB is an option, but I do say that he's a fan favorite for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, there is a fan question: who is going to train Devin? Obviously, you announced that you're done with Devin Haney. I mean, as far as training him, you're not going to be the head coach anymore, and you're gonna just pretty much be the manager. So, who's going to be the head coach? Is there any developments on that?
Well, the irony in the whole thing is that what I did was I opened up the platform for Devin to bring on more firepower if he deemed so. I opened up the platform. I opened up the opportunity for other coaches to solicit the job as well, because what I did not want to do, I didn't want Devin to feel indebted with me because I'm his father and we've been down for so long. I know so many trainers have their fighters boxed in on loyalty and boxed in on the fact that they've been there, right? And they kind of want to make the fighter feel like that he's in debt to them. And as being on the business side with Dev, you don't want the fighter. If you know any manager or any promoter, the last thing that the promoter or the manager would want the fighter is to feel indebted to anyone, indebted to a trainer or anything like that. So I found myself in a real peculiar situation that needed to be addressed. And I took the liberty to step out and say to Devin, you know what I mean? This is something that's open to you. Now, if Devin then says, okay, Dad, we're gonna rock the way we've been rocking because it wasn't broken, we don't need to fix it, then of course I'm open to that, right? But if Devin also says, okay, no, we're gonna bring in this person, and Dad, I want you to do this or I want you to do that, I'm open for that as well. But I felt compelled to open up about it and open up not just privately with him because, as a father and son, you know what I mean? I didn't want it to be where, he felt like he would hurt my feelings or something like that. So I took the liberty to just jump out there, you know what I mean, and open it up to him, and of course the world to see.
That's right. And a lot of people respected you for that decision. But at the end of the day, the coach plays a big role in a fighter. And obviously, Devin Haney has a fight coming up. And whoever is going to be, hopefully, is Lomachenko. That's a big fight. So, have Devin made that decision yet? Because obviously, you don't want to go into a fight like that and you don't have a trainer yet.
Yeah, well, we're still working. We still do all the same things that we've been doing, right? We still work at the same pace. We still, have our same trainers, our same strength and condition coaches, and alike. But like I said, is that I took the liberty to open it up. You know what I mean? For Devin to weigh out all of his options and weigh them out in a way that he was comfortable, and not it be something else. So as of right now, You know, he hasn't called me and told me that he's picked anyone, right? You know, we're in the gym. We're in the gym training and everything, doing you know, just doing our same business that we've did for the last 13 years. But what the people got to understand is I've taken a back seat to many different coaches. I've also, you know what I mean, had the front seat, and I've drove, you know what I mean. I've also been on the passenger side. So you know what I mean. I'll be there 1,000% with my son, whatever decision that he makes.
That's right. Now we have Bill keep pushing the fight. If there's disagreement, we the fans want to see the fight happen. You guys say everyone is ducking you. Don't let Loma duck you guys that easy. But it's obviously only so much you can do. You know, right? And that, you know, at the end of the day, it takes two to rumble.
Absolutely.
Now, as far as you know, Eddie Hearn, where do we stand? How far are we from Eddie Hearn, you know, sending a contract in written form?
Well, like I said, you know, with this thing, it becomes negotiating. You know what I mean, and talking about it and everything. You know, we're working at it, man. That's the only thing that we can really give to people right now is that we're working at it. We're doing our due diligence as from DHP standpoint, right? And now it takes two to tango. So, you know, we'll be sure to, you know, keep you guys updated, you know, at every stage of this thing.
Yes, sir. Now, as far as obviously you in the Devin Haney business, but someone that you guys always looking to fight is Gervonta Tank Davis, who they say actually Barrios is most likely his next opponent. Now, how dangerous is that fight for Tank moving up 2 weight divisions?
You know, I want to believe that, you know, at this level of play, the fights that are going to be put on for the people are always going to be dangerous fights. You know, this is the hurt business, and anytime that you go up to you know, 2 weight classes, you are challenging yourself. I'm sure that, you know, Tank, he struggles to get down to the weight, so I don't think he'll have a problem, you know, making the 140 pounds if that's what he should do. You know, I'm a big fan of Mario Barrios and his family. You know what I mean, and what they did, him and his sister in the sport of boxing. So you know, if they get that opportunity at Tank Davis, you know, more power to him, and I'll be happy for him.
Yes, sir. Now, you know, hopefully the Lomachenko fight versus Devin Haney come to fruition, and we definitely need to hear all the updates and all the details that take place. So far, you know, Loma team haven't responded. That's where we stand. Devin Haney and his team reached out to Team Lomachenko, and Team Lomachenko haven't responded yet. So hopefully they respond sooner than later, so we could get this fight rolling.
Absolutely.
Now, any last message you have for Vasyl Lomachenko, his team, and to the fans?
Get at us.
Say it again.
I told right. We've reached out. Now we're waiting on you guys.
Sir, yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you, Bill. You know, I definitely stay in touch with you. You know, as far as any development that will take place, I will reach out to you.
Absolutely, brother. And, you know, blessings on top of blessings to all the people and all the fans. We're doing it for you guys, man. You know what I mean? Stay safe out there. Until we talk again, stay blessed.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Bill.
All right, peace.
So, as far as the Devin Haney versus Vasyl Lomachenko, at this moment in time, Devin Haney, he contacted Eddie Hearn. He told Eddie Hearn that's the fight he wants the most. And Eddie Hearn reached out to Team Lomachenko. Bill Haney reached out to Lomachenko manager. They, you know, Team Lomachenko haven't responded yet. So as far as any other details, they will be coming out soon and revealed. This is the fight that all the fans want. This is the fight that everyone told Devin Haney to take. Lomachenko is coming off a loss, so he have no excuse to turn down the fight. Bob Arum gave Lomachenko his blessings to take this fight next. He actually told him that, or not next, excuse me. He did say though he interested in the fight. He said this is a fight that he likes personally. So that's really no roadblock at this moment in time because Eddie Hearn, DAZN, Bill Haney, they all on board. They want to make the best fight available for the fans that the fans want to see. The fans pick Lomachenko. Devin Haney called out Lomachenko. Lomachenko accepted the challenge on Twitter. So hopefully he will accept the challenge on paper, or at least verbally, so it could get that far. But if obviously at the moment in time, they haven't responded to Eddie Hearn nor Team Haney. So I definitely will be right back at this moment. I got, it's praying time right now where I'm at. So I'm gonna go ahead and pray, and I will be right back. Just give me 10 minutes. We got a lot to talk about actually today, from Pacquiao versus Mikey Garcia. We're going to be talking about that. Crawford versus Porter. The WBC changing their mandatory rules because of the Canelo versus Avini outcome. We also going to be talking about Shakur versus Oscar Valdez, developments that's taken place. And then, of course, Tank versus Mario Barrios, finalizing. And the $1 million question, where is Ryan? Ryan keeps saying he wants the fight. And he hears about Tank negotiating with Mario Barrios, and he's nowhere to be found. So we're going to talk about all of the above. Stay tuned. I will be right back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. So go ahead and call in. The number is in the description box below. So for the people that's just not tuning in, Devin Haney and his team have reached out to Team Lomachenko. More specifically, I think is Lomachenko manager, if I'm not mistaken. His name is Egis. Eddie Hearn reached out to him. Bill Haney reached out to him to figure out who they could send the offer to. Obviously, it should be Egis himself since he's Lomachenko manager. It could also be Top Rank. So as long Lomachenko and his team accepts the fight, this fight should come to fruition. As like I said before, Eddie Hearn is doing what he's supposed to do as Devin Haney promoter, and Bill Haney is doing what he's supposed to do as the CEO of DHP Promotion by reaching out to Team Lomachenko to see if they could make this fight happen. Like I said, at the end of the day, talk is cheap. We all want to see this fight, but actions speak louder than words. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the phone lines real quick. Hello, how you doing? Where are you calling from and who this is?
Hey, how you doing, Aki? This is Truth from Atlanta.
Truth from Atlanta.
Yes, sir. 16.
Yes, sir. So what's your thoughts on all of the above? Do you think this fight is going to happen? I mean, there's no reason for Lomachenko not to want this fight. I mean, it's one thing to avoid Devin Haney when he was his mandatory, because that was a very dangerous mandatory, but it's another to come off a loss and have a VIP pass to the top and to come back and even get a rematch with Tio if he could beat Devin, right? So do you see Lomachenko accepting the offer and taking the fight?
To be honest, I do see Lomachenko taking a fight because who else he gonna fight? Devin's the only other belt holder at 135, so who else is he gonna fight? This is his one and only chance to come back and be at top, unless somebody else beat Devin, which I don't see happening whatsoever. This is one chance to take a belt and go get his rematch, the undisputed rematch with Teofimo. So yeah, I see him taking the fight. If he don't take the fight, then his career going to the bottom. So I don't know why he wouldn't take the fight.
Well, let me inform you that Bob been talking about Nakatani as a comeback fight for Lomachenko. So that is definitely the safer route because one thing for sure, there's a lot of risk of fighting Devin. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If Luke Campbell with his skill set could keep Lomachenko in the outside and give him problems, and he don't control range the way Devin do, he can't fight in the inside as good as Devin, and he's just not as good as Devin, period. Devin could fight mid-range, inside, and in the outside. So if Luke Campbell could give Lomachenko problems with his height and reach, and if Tio footwork and him turning with Lomachenko nullified Lomachenko completely, then you could just imagine what a guy with Devin Haney talent, with his footwork, with his hand speed, who has faster hands than Luke and even Tio, who has better IQ, better footwork, and he's rangier and taller than Teofimo. That smells trouble for Lomachenko, and there's a reason why Lomachenko avoided Devin Haney in the past, right? But like you said, at this moment in time, he has everything to win and nothing to lose. Or maybe he does have something to lose. If he turns down this fight, that will tell us how much he respects Devin as a fighter. Because if he does lose, I don't think Lomachenko could afford back-to-back losses. You know, I thought Meek Mill couldn't come back from that back-to-back by Drake, but he made he came back. You know, I was wrong. You know, Meek Mill made a comeback, but he had to squash his beef with Drake. You know what I'm saying? So Loma's gonna have to do something equivalent to that if he lose back to back. So I think it's just the level of threat that is because it's against Devin. I mean, don't get me wrong, Lomachenko fought a dangerous guy in the past. You know, when he first turned pro, he lost to Salido in his second fight. Then he fought Gary Russell in his third fight for another title, and he went to Showtime to get that fight. But obviously, he had a lot to prove then. He still has a lot to prove now, but he just feels like, man, if he turns down the fight, then he really feels like Devin Haney is the second coming of Floyd, because ironically, Lomachenko said that Floyd Mayweather is his dream fight. He said Lomachenko said Floyd Mayweather is my dream fight, and obviously Devin Haney nickname is the Dream, and he's Floyd Mayweather prodigy, and he trained with Floyd Mayweather growing up, and Floyd Mayweather is Devin Haney looks up to Floyd. Even with his style, so on and so forth. So wouldn't you want to fight Floyd Mayweather prodigy if that's your dream fight, you know, and a chance to get back and redemption? So it will tell us a lot about Lomachenko confidence and his mindset at this moment in time. We'll see. Like I said, at the end of the day, talk is cheap. The fact that his team, because Bill Haney, he reached out, him and Eddie Hearn reached out to Lomachenko manager. So I don't see why his manager haven't responded yet. We obviously got to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they in different time zones, so we'll see. But if you know, obviously, I talked to Bill, I talked to Devin. So if I don't hear that the manager have responded, then it's not a positive sign for this fight to be moving forward to getting made for the summer. But if the fight, you know, obviously, if he responds and he says, send us the offer, we interested, then that's definitely a green light. So we'll see for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really just think if Devin beat Lomachenko in impressive fashion, I don't want to hear nothing else about who has he fought. That's all that is really dumb to me, because instead of a lot of these guys, like, they want to say who has he fought and stuff like that, but nobody ever says who's gonna beat him, who's willing to step in there with him and show him what a real champion is. That so far, Dev is the boogeyman at 135. Nobody can say otherwise, because nobody want to step up.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think whoever step up, Dev gonna step on him. Period. Because I think he'll give Teofimo problems, because when Lomachenko started getting active, like he was putting hands on Teofimo. Teofimo still won that fight to me, you know, but it's still like Dev is a rangy, slick fighter. He knows how to move. He has the best feet at 135. He's a slick, and they say Dev he has pillow hands and stuff like that. How does he, like, that makes some sense and stuff like that? You don't have to pack a powerful punch to keep a guy off you. You don't. That's not boxing. You can be slick, and you can have some pop to your punch. You don't have to be a power puncher to beat a guy. That's retarded. That really makes no sense to me at all.
That's the decafs talking, because see, they never boxed a day in their life, and they just simply don't understand it. The quickest way to get knocked out is look for the knockout. And when you come forward and like you come in, and if someone catch you coming in, the impact of the punch will double nearly. You know, that's how Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez, because he was coming in when Marquez caught him. So you just can't come into a fighter and try to dog him. That's not going to happen. And obviously, if that was the case, then previous Devin Haney opponents would have did the same thing. But we've seen him knock guys out before. We've seen him go to decisions before. But at the end of the day, or at least the night, I mean, Gamboa, say what you want to say about Gamboa, but he's a veteran and he knows how to survive. I mean, he was holding for dear life, and that's something Devin Haney had to learn on the job, is that how you fight off a clinch. That was like a learning experience, because see,
Dev, he's young.
Yeah, he's young. So I mean, Errol Spence, he had to deal with that against Kell Brook, but he was aware of that against Kell Brook coming into the fight, and obviously he worked for that. And Errol Spence, he knows how to fight off the clinch. So that's what Devin Haney had to kind of learn on the job. But hey, let me get your take on Pacquiao supposedly against Mikey Garcia is in the works for maybe Manny Pacquiao last fight in the sport of boxing. So what's your think? What's your take on that fight? I mean, is it a dangerous fight? Is it a calculated fight for Pacquiao? Because obviously Pacquiao asked for $40 million to fight my man Terrence Crawford, and now he interested in Mikey Garcia more so. But I think stylistically, Mikey, he reminds me of Marquez when it comes to this Pacquiao fight stylistically. He got great power, or good power, I should say, at the welterweight division. He got great timing. He got great chin. He has great balance. And he's not the fastest guy in the world, but his 1-2 is on point. You know, he got a good 1-2 and a good jab and a right hand. And that's what you need against Pacquiao, especially to catch him coming in. So obviously, Mikey haven't been active since his fight with Vargas. He was getting caught a whole lot. Vargas is not as fast as Pacquiao, but at the end of the day, Pacquiao is 42 years old, and Mikey is still around his prime. So what's your take on that fight stylistically for Pacquiao? Is it a smart choice?
To be honest, this fight is at 147. This is at 147.
I think so. Yeah.
I really think Mikey, he's a 140 pounder, to be honest, because we saw what happened when he fought Errol Spence. Errol picked him apart the whole fight. He was staying away from Errol. He was backing up a lot because Errol was just doing damage to him the whole fight, pretty much. And I think, and Manny Pacquiao, he's a very slick southpaw. And for a 42-year-old, he still got some pop in his punches. So really, it's a 50-50 fight, but I don't know. I think for some reason, I just think Pacquiao is gonna win that fight. I got Pacquiao on that fight.
So you don't think, because I know you brought up the size a little bit, but you don't think, I mean, Marquez wasn't the biggest guy in the world either. Marquez, he moved from 126, just like Mikey. And Marquez, he was actually a 135-pounder and moved up 2 weight divisions to fight Pacquiao at 147. That was his second fight at 147. So, and he still managed to outbox Pacquiao in a way in the third fight and put him out in the fourth fight. So, do you really think the size advantage for Pacquiao plays a big role? I mean, they around the same size anyway. So you banking on the size or the speed, or you just overall think Pacquiao is a better fighter?
Just overall.
Right.
Just overall, I say it's a 50-50 fight to me. It's a 50-50 fight. It could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if Mikey won or Manny Pacquiao won. You know what I'm saying? That's a good fight. But stylistically, I'm gonna have to go with Manny Pacquiao on that fight. Yeah, I think Manny Pacquiao, he just
right. Yeah, I do agree with you.
Yeah, he just.
Yeah, you go ahead. My bad.
You go ahead.
Yeah, okay, all right. So, like I said, at the end of the day, I just felt like, Mikey sparring Pacquiao in the past will eliminate the awkwardness of Pacquiao. Because see, the thing about it, at the end of the day, when you fight a southpaw that's awkward, that's in and out, so on and so forth. That moment when you don't know where the punches are coming from, what kind of speed they come in at you with, that will throw a fighter off, even if you are experienced. We saw the same thing happen to Keith Thurman, backing up in a straight line, making silly mistakes. But with Mikey, I think he got better defense and better balance when it comes to that. And him sparring Pacquiao in the past, he got to spar Pacquiao at his best. So he got to see Pacquiao at his best. So I think when he does fight him right now, the awkwardness of Pacquiao won't shock him too much. That left hand that caught Marquez so many different times, I don't think Mikey is going to get caught lacking like that. So I just think, man, this is a dangerous fight. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just think if it does happen,
a dangerous fight.
Yeah, the layoff. I mean, I just feel like that the layoff, Pacquiao coming off a 2-year layoff, Pacquiao being 42 years old, and stylistically the fight being wrong for Pacquiao, it might be Mikey coming off party. The only issue with that is I know Mikey would have loved to fight Pacquiao when he was still the WBA super champion, so he could become a champion in 5 different divisions. But he could thank Ryan Garcia for trolling Pacquiao to losing his title. So, they both Garcias, so he could thank Ryan for that. As far as getting Pacquiao to get stripped. But any last thoughts on that, my man?
Yeah. If let me change it up a little bit. If Mikey Garcia bring his best, he fights his ass off. He gonna win that fight. He brings his best, but if he make one little tiny mistake, Pacquiao will make you pay for that. He's gonna make you pay for that. So I think if Mikey comes in sharp and he's always focused, stays on his T's and his Q's, defensively sharp, offensively sharp as well, Mikey Garcia can win that fight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate talking with you, my man. Call again, all right?
All right. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing, Aki? Who this is and where are you calling from? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, 915.
Hi, my name is Beth. I'm calling from Houston.
How you doing?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear
I'm
you.
good, and yourself?
I'm doing good. So what's your thoughts
Yeah.
on Devin Haney versus Lomachenko? Who you got in that fight, and do you think Lomachenko is going to take the fight?
Hold on one second. TV is interacting with you, so I can barely hear you. Let me pause it.
Hello?
No, I don't think Lomachenko is going to win at all. I never thought Lomachenko was remotely a quarter of what they were typing him up to be. I mean, for a white boy, he had a little bit of footwork or whatever, a little bit of movement. But other than that, he was way overhyped.
Right.
Devin Haney literally has every skill there is to beat anybody in his division. To include, I know you're going to hate it because I love him too. He reminds me of my baby, Shakur Stevenson. I think Devin Haney, if those two was ever actually really meet, I think he would. It would be a very, very close fight, but I think Devin Haney would edge out.
Okay. So do you think Lomachenko is going to take the fight?
No, he's going to take the fight.
Do you think he's going to accept the fight?
I think he will, actually.
Yeah.
I think he will. I think he definitely will accept the fight.
Okay.
I think this time he will, because like the guy mentioned before, he has nothing to lose. What can he lose? Nothing.
You don't think taking back-to-back losses?
Why would he not?
You don't think taking back-to-back losses to Tio and now Devin, two young upcoming fighters, is just going to hurt his legacy big time? You don't think that?
I don't think him taking back-to-back losses to calibers of talents of the Devin Haney of the world. I think, especially if he does better in this fight than he did against Teofimo Lopez, I think it would still make him a name. Kind of like, how Sean Porter, he took losses, but he's still a name.
Right.
So, no, I don't think him losing back-to-back, I don't think that would necessarily count him out. Because these are, Devin Haney's a whole different pedigree in the boxing game. Like, I have not seen nobody like him since Floyd. He reminds me a lot of Floyd in his movement. He's so fluent. His rhythm is unmatched at this level. That's why Teofimo Lopez didn't want no smoke. He didn't want it. He's definitely ducked and dodged.
Right.
Backflip us out of here.
Yeah, that's for sure. Tio, he got a lot of respect for Devin because he be saying a whole lot, but when it's time to it, when Devin is next to him, his energy totally changes. So Tio, yeah. However that sparring went, it must have went Devin way because the way Tio talks,
he definitely went left.
Right,
went left for Tio. Yeah, I mean he's backflipping his way up out of there any which way he can. Now he's beefing with his top rank. He just got a lot going on. He's just a scorching hot mess. I don't give Teofimo to last long in the boxing game at all. I give him 5 years tops, and I think he's going to be done.
Oh yeah,
he has his ego. Yeah, I do.
You don't think?
No,
Tio's
I think his
special?
ego is way too. No, not at all. You don't think he's that special either.
Well, I mean, we want to see the fights. At the end of the day, that's why we want them all to fight each other. But the way Tio is talking, he keeps saying all this takeover talk. But at the end of the day, you can't take over and pick and choose who you want to fight. I mean, this man, he went from the takeover and changed overnight to becoming the taking parts. Yeah, taking parts and stuff like that. So, at the end of the day, I like Tio as a fighter and his style. But like I said, he threw me off. Like, I gave him the benefit of the doubt too many times. He just be coming out and straight lying to the fans. I mean, he said that I'm sending Devin Haney a contract. He said that a year ago. It turned out to be a lie. I ignored it.
And then,
I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, okay, he fighting Lomachenko. It's okay. And then recently he did the same thing. He said, I'm going to send composers a contract. I'm going to send Devin a contract. And that contract haven't arrived to this day. So it's like, man, why you keep lying? I mean, if you don't want to fight Devin, just say that. You don't got to keep. Like at this moment in time, it seemed like T.O. is just trolling Devin.
That's all he's doing. I can't respect the game for him and Ryan Garcia. I cannot stand that little boy, that little Ryan Garcia boy. Like, all he does tell lies. And then all of a sudden, now Devin Haney's style is too boring. Although Canelo tried to mimic Mayweather as much as he can when he gets in the ring. But that's not boring when the Mexican is doing it. But when somebody's natural rhythm for black folks to do it, then it's boring. No, you're boring.
Yeah,
he's very flat-footed when he fights. He has no footwork at all. Ryan Garcia is he's like a walking punching bag, literally. Like you'd probably be able to walk him down. He gets in the ring with real competition, actually has some boxing skills, not a Luke Campbell. For example, if he would have fought Gamboa instead of Luke Campbell, I think Gamboa would have beat Ryan.
I mean, at the end of the day, Ryan, he threw me off when he said, if I want to call myself a champion, I can. I mean, like, you gotta become a champion. Like, it's not as simple as holding a belt on Instagram and claiming you're a champion just because you have an audience. That's not how it works. That's why, even Oscar De La Hoya said, that's just for Instagram, what Ryan Garcia be saying. Because Ryan Garcia, he don't realize at the end of the day, he keep telling the champion to prove himself. No, Devin Haney is the champion. You're not a champion. You, Devin Haney, mandatory.
Exactly.
You should fight Devin Haney to become a champion and prove yourself. Because at the end of the day, any fighter dream is to become a champion. I don't care who you ask. If you ask a kid growing up, looking up to whoever fighter, if he's a boxer, he will tell you, my first, dream is becoming a champion. And if you ask a veteran, you ask him, what's your favorite moment, is they always going to point out them winning the first world title because it meant so much. And for Ryan to pass out on that opportunity and then say, oh, yeah, Devin, he need to fight somebody. Man, I'll promise you, if Devin vacates the belt today and move up, Ryan Garcia, he will fight whoever. I don't care who he going to fight. If it's a bum, if it's someone he never heard of, he will fight him tomorrow and request to fight for that belt. If Devin Haney vacate the belt. So we know what time it is. You didn't hear Canelo Alvarez say, Caleb Smith, you need to fight somebody. We never heard someone that you fought. You don't deserve a fight with me. Nah, Canelo fought him in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to Andrade or Benavidez, when they were champions, he never interested in them because of the level of threat is too high for Canelo. Just like Ryan, the level of threat, Ryan is not confident in himself. That he don't believe he could beat Devin. That's why he said Devin is my toughest opponent out of the bunch. From Tank, T.O., and all of the above. So, I mean, like I said, once you say the truth one time, you let the truth out of the bag.
I totally 100% agree with you. Like that's just his MO. Maybe he should stick to modeling and working with Fenty, Savage, and all the other stuff when we box him along. Leave it to the big boys because right now he's not handling himself like a champion at all, or not even a contender. He's moving real snake-like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't an R. Kelly song, move your body like a snake, ma. Yeah, he's moving mad snake-like. Well, I don't like it. I can't take it.
Ryan, you know who he fighting next, right?
Who is he fighting next? Have they announced this fight yet?
I heard he fighting. There's rumors that he might fight Jake Paul on a YouTube fight. That's what I heard. He didn't.
I hope Jake Paul knocked his ass out.
Hey, but what's your take on Pacquiao versus Mikey Garcia as a fight and stylistically?
Trash.
Who you give that fight to? Who would you give that fight to?
I would give the edge to probably Pacquiao just because he's a little bit more fluent in movement than Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is very flat-footed when he boxes. He's very slow. He kind of just moves, he kind of keeps his head there. He's very much a straightforward fighter. Pacquiao's going to move on him a lot more. So I will give it to, but if Mikey Garcia catch him one good time, I think he will hurt Pacquiao.
Right. So you got Mikey.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
No, I think Pacquiao is going to edge it out, but I think it's going to be a trash fight. Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, I mean,
Nobody wants to pay to see that.
Yeah, I think it's a 50-50 fight, if I'm being honest. I think it's like, because Pacquiao's 42 years old, I wanted to see Pacquiao against other fighters, but since this is the most likely fight that's going to be next, I will favor. I mean, I don't know. I think it could go either way. I really can't say. I think Pacquiao could edge it if his awkwardness and hand speed could overwhelm Mikey, but if Mikey could deal with the hand speed and footwork better than Keith did, which I'm thinking he can, I'm favoring, I'm leaning a little more toward Mikey, at the moment in time.
I can see that too. I can definitely see that. Are they fighting? Are they going to do it at welterweight? It's going to be a catch weight involved because Mikey does not look good at 147.
Oh, no, it ain't going to be no catch weight. Yeah, it's going to be 147. From what I heard.
It's going to be 147. Yeah, he just did not look good at 147. He fought against Earl Spence. I mean, Earl Spence is a different caliber of fighter altogether. I don't care what he looks like. He was never going to be Earl Spence on his best day.
Yeah, he could have been. Mikey could have been a full-fledged 147 pounder. Yeah, Errol just showed that he is a better fighter than Mikey all around the board. But enjoy talking with you. This is your first time calling in, so you definitely need to call more often. You got a lot of boxing knowledge, so you need to hit us with that 1-2 knowledge every time you come through. Now.
Always, sir. You have a good day, Aki.
All right.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Appreciate it. That's a sister that called in. She know her boxing more than all you decafs. What's going on? You decafs got to do better. And obviously, there's no decaf in the house today. None of you decafs calling in. None of you decafs trolling in the chat. What's going on? Hello, how you doing, Aki? Who this is, or where you calling from?
What's going on, Aki? This is Joey from South Florida.
Oh, Joey, what's going on? Hey, Joey, man. So, what's going on with your boy Lomachenko? You think he gonna respond? Obviously, Eddie Hearn and Bill Haney reached out to Lomachenko manager to see who they could send the offer to. So, you think Lomachenko gonna accept the fight? And if he do accept the fight, what's your thoughts on this fight overall? And who would you favor to win this fight?
I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I thought about this for a little bit, and part of me thinks Lomachenko's going to take this fight because this is his shot at getting a rematch at Teofimo and becoming a big icon in the sport if he beats Devin. But the other part of me is like, is he going to risk losing again back-to-back against another young, hungry champion? Because after that, I mean, some people can say, oh, he'll bounce back, but this was someone who was looked at as the pound-for-pound number one to most people. Now, we all know that wasn't true, but that's how ESPN made him out to be. Are they willing to risk that and let him fight Devin Haney? I'm not sure. I hope Lomachenko's mentality is like, look, I need to fight the best again. Because the thing is, what threw me off is that Lomachenko came at Devin on Twitter. And I've never seen that side of Lomachenko before. Lomachenko's kind of a quiet guy.
Oh, but
don't
Loma,
really, and the way he came at Devin.
Loma didn't come at Devin though. It's Devin who tweeted.
No. I know Devin came first, but I didn't expect Loma to come back. That's not. I've never seen that side of Lomachenko before.
My man done hung. Hold on, he should be right back. He's right here. Oh, okay. Yeah, just stay on. My call dropped. I lost service. Hold on. I'm gonna call right back. So stay on the phone. Hold on.
There are 5 on friends.
Hello? Yeah.
And he knows how to use that jazz.
Yo, hold on. Joey, we lost you because my call dropped. So you were at, you never seen this side of Lomachenko when the call dropped. So can you start from over there?
Oh, yeah. Wait, can you hear me?
Hold on. Yeah, we can hear you. It's just I think my call dropped on my end. Hello? Hello? I don't know what's going on. Just give me a second. Just facing a little couple of technical difficulties when it comes to the press conference calls. So just give me a second. I don't know why I keep losing my call. So my man said AKHi calls dropping like Dillian White. Oh man, that was good. Hello?
Yeah, what's going on, AKHi? My fault about that.
Yeah, you good. So you were saying you never seen this side of Lomachenko before, and that's why you think he gonna take the fight. Now, what side you talking about? Because I seen the side where he was saying, he was telling Devin, you need to fight somebody. You ain't fought nobody yet. And I was like, he didn't sound too optimistic about making a fight until the end, because Devin kept like calling him out for his bluff, as far as requesting the franchise and all that.
No, I'm just not used to Lomachenko straight up calling people cowards. That's just something that Lomachenko's a little more subtle than that. So that's just something new. Like that's just a whole different side that I kind of was like, okay, maybe Loma might come out of his shell and actually fight Devin. So, like I said, I'm not sure. I'm being optimistic, but then again, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't fight him, because at the end of the day, Devin's still a dangerous fight. But as I was saying, I think Devin has all the tools.
Yeah, before you get that far, I just want to emphasize on this real quick that the words that were used were, "I'm waiting on you cowards to fight each other." Now, it would have sounded completely different if he would have said, "I'm waiting on you, coward, to fight me." Now, if he would have said that, it would have sounded more direct, like, "Yo, you a coward, you ain't trying to fight me." But for him to say, "I'm waiting on you cowards to fight each other," as if he's just a fan from the outside looking in, when he's a fighter that's supposed to be in the mix. He the one that's supposed to say, "I'm waiting on you cowards to fight me." So the fact that he said, "I'm waiting on you cowards to fight each other," when he knows Devin was trying to fight him in the past on more than one occasion, it sounded like to me that it was just a bunch of talk, at least from the jump. But as the conversation went on, obviously Devin kept pressing his buttons, calling him out on his bluffs and lies, on requesting the franchise that he never gave the answer to, because he said it wasn't me, and he never said who it was. So since that's the case, obviously he was cornered to saying, "Hey, how about you organize a fight with us?" And that's how they came to an agreement to fight each other. So, like I said, that's how we all got here today. But I'm hoping you are right. I'm hoping that I am wrong, and I'm hoping that he does fight Devin Haney next. I mean, there's a good chance of him doing so. So hopefully, his action speaks as loud as his words.
I'm hoping I'm right too, because I'm tired of being wrong. These fighters been letting me down recently.
Yes.
Damn.
So as far as the fight stylistically, you said you will favor Lomachenko, though, right?
No. I said I would favor Devin Haney, because after that fight with Teofimo Lopez, it's shown me Lomachenko, not all you need, but with a really good jab, good footwork, and if you're able to cut off Lomachenko's angles, he becomes very ordinary. So, and if you keep pressing Lomachenko, and I know Devin Haney can do something like that from boxing on the outside, Lomachenko he's going to stay on the outside, retreat, and not and probably isn't going to mount much of an offense.
Right,
Because
right.
the thing is, what's so hypocritical of people, they want to claim Floyd Mayweather and Devin Haney run, yet they always land more punches than the other fighter. And yeah, you got Lomachenko, who fought Teofimo for 12 straight rounds and ran those first 7 rounds, and yet he landed less punches. So you tell me what's real running.
Right, right. That's a fact. That's a fact, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they called the other, Devin and Floyd boring, and then Loma, he's so exciting, and he threw and landed 7 punches for the first 6 rounds, which is a record-breaking number right there. I mean, to land 7 punches for 6 rounds at that level, it's just unheard of. You don't usually see fights like that, and you see him when he let his hands go, he started to do better. So it's just like he was super gun shy, and which I can't, I can't really comprehend why. Maybe early on, obviously, Tio was actually sharper with his, counters and his speed and power. So that could have been it. Hey, but I really got to talk with you on this topic more so, which is obviously Teofimo. We saw the power play that he made against Bob Arum, where hopefully Terrence Crawford will open his eyes and see the money that is out there in the market for them as fighters. So you see, Teofimo was being offered $1.25 million to fight Kambosos. Now, Kambosos is a good fighter, but Bob, he only offered Teofimo Lopez $1.25 million, knowing the fact that Tio is coming off his biggest win and he had 3 belts. So obviously, Tio took it to purse bid, in which DAZN came into the equation. Also, Triller came into the equation. Triller pulled off the fight. Now, Tio is going to get paid $3.9 million. However, Bob is going to get 20+% cut and walk away. Now, Tio is going to walk away with $3.1 million. So, with that being said, there is no excuse because Pacquiao is fighting Mikey Garcia, according to the news, or as far as what Mikey's saying. So if that's the case, and Pacquiao is out of the equation, and now what Sean Porter has to do, because I'm getting tired of all the talking, the back and forth, and I want the fight, but wanting is one thing, action is another, and we always speak about action. You see what Bill Haney and Devin Haney doing. They trying to make the fight. They reaching out to the other side, to Lomachenko team to make the fight. We heard about Kenny Porter going to Bob Arum office to talk to Bob about the fight. They trying to get a better purse because Bob said, we got $1 million for you. We all know that's a low ball. I mean, offer. That's a low ball offer. There's no, that's not up for debate. But why not take it to purse bid? Why not Sean Porter? He needs to go ahead and petition for his WBO mandatory position so he could force the fight. And once the fight is forced and Bob Arum gives him an offer that he's not happy with, like I said before, take it to purse bid. And when you out in the open market, if Triller is offering $6 million for Kambosos versus Teofimo Lopez, knowing that fight, it's not a pay-per-view fight. Let's all be honest. I mean, they might offer 10, 15 million for Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter because that is a pay-per-view fight that's going to do tremendous numbers. So there is no excuse for Sean Porter not to petition to activate his mandatory position to fight Terrence Crawford and force that fight since Terrence doesn't have any other option. What's your take on making that decision the way Kambosos did, and obviously for the fight to go to purse bid, the way Tio did with Bob, if Porter doesn't like the purse that's being offered?
I mean, that was the first thing I thought after Teofimo and Kambosos' fight went to purse bid and it came to a success, and they ended up getting way more than I thought they would. And that's a fight that nobody really cares to see. Like, let's be honest here. Yeah, Kambosos is a decent fighter, but it's not the fight people want to see Teofimo fight next. So Triller was able to make that fight happen and put $6 million in it. So imagine Sean Porter versus Terrence Crawford, which is a fight people have been asking for a minute. Like, I don't see why Sean Porter can't go to first bid, activate his mandatory, and see where he goes from there. Because I guarantee he's going to get offered well more than $1 million for that if he ends up going to first bid. That's a guarantee. This is Bob Arum. Bob Arum is probably just going to give you the minimum, but I'm pretty sure there's other promotions and other teams that are willing to get more because they see the promise in that fight.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, if I don't know, because obviously different sectioning bodies have different splits when it comes to the purse bid, and the purse splits rules are different per organization. Some organizations have it 75-25% split. Some other organizations, such as the IBF, have it 35-65% split. I don't know what it is for the WBO. I got to go check and do my research on that. But if, obviously this is not, I'm just giving, predictions as far as if this fight goes to purse bid, maybe that's a $10 million offer or a 10 million bid on the table. If that's the case, 35% of 10 million, that's 3.5 million for Sean. 25% is 2.5 million. You know what I'm saying? So you're walking away with that much money. And you might even get a bid that's more than 10 million, because this is a pay-per-view fight that will do around 300K pay-per-view. So like I said, there is no excuse for Sean Porter not to petition for this fight if he really wanted. It's the fight that we all want to see. Kenny Porter he been going out of his way to try to make this fight happen. But I don't care how much you try to sweet talk Bob. He's not gonna, if he offering his own fighter Tio 1.25 million when he got 3 belts, what do you think he's gonna offer you when you're just a challenger with no belt? He's not gonna offer you much. You know what I'm saying? He only gonna offer you $1 million. Like he said, I don't think Bob is moving away from that 1 million. He's offering anybody and everybody 1 million. So Sean has to take that, because it's his responsibility at this moment in time. It ain't Terrence. Terrence is the champion. Sean is the mandatory. So you don't want to lose your mandatory position. You want to go ahead and petition for that title, because the only way Terrence was going to go elsewhere was if the Pacquiao fight was on the table, because that's a bigger fight. The only way you could get an exception for a mandatory is when you have a bigger fight on the table. Pacquiao fight will definitely have been a bigger fight. Since that's off the table, then Sean, if he petitions, he guaranteed to get this fight. So if he doesn't petition, I don't want to hear about, about the fans complaining about Crawford not fighting Sean, because it's not Crawford's fault at this moment in time if Sean doesn't petition, because he will end up losing his mandatory position. Wouldn't you agree?
I absolutely agree, because I've been talking to people for the longest, and people keep telling me that Terrence Crawford stuck in Sean Porter, and I'm like, Sean Porter's the mandatory. It's not up to Terrence Crawford to tell the fight Sean Porter. It's up to Sean Porter to activate his mandatory, set up the fight with Terrence Crawford. There's nothing Terrence Crawford can do. It's up to Sean Porter to make that first step so this fight can get made. And if Sean Porter doesn't get doesn't make that step, what do you expect Terrence Crawford to do at the end of the day? Terrence Crawford's never stepped away from the mandatory before, and he's already said that he's willing to fight Sean Porter if necessary. So, yeah, I was excited at the idea of Sean Porter going to Bob Arum, because I'm like, he's not going there if he doesn't want to make the fight, but you got other options. As we saw recently, Teofimo and George Kambosos took the lottery and made that fight worth $6 million. So, in that fight, like I said, no one really cares for that. That fight's not really popular. So imagine what Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter will be like. That's the fight everybody wants to see. That's the fight people keep saying, considering no one thinks Terrence Crawford wants to fight Sean Porter, yet it's not his fault. So I absolutely believe that Sean Porter needs to take care of this opportunity, and if he doesn't, well, there's nothing you can say about Terrence Crawford. You can't blame him for that.
Right, and obviously we talking about the open market with the way Tio gambled. You have a lot of different boxing entities or even companies that want to expand. You obviously got Triller. You have the Zone, Eddie Hearn looking to sign fighters left and right and offering crazy money. So knowing that Terrence is about to become a free agent, Eddie Hearn is interested. You know Eddie Hearn is lurking. You know Eddie Hearn is very interested in Terrence Crawford, and he's most likely interested and will be interested in Terrence versus Porter. So he might really bid a lot of money in order to get that fight on the zone. You know, so if ESPN doesn't want to put the right purse for these two fighters to fight each other, I'm pretty sure another entity will, such as the zone or Triller, like you talked about. So yeah, hopefully this fight does happen. This fight, we've been talking about it for a while. And the only thing that's wrong in the sport of boxing is that we talk about fights for too damn long. You know, we've been talking about this fight for too freaking long. It needs to go ahead and happen. I mean, all we do is talk about fights that never materialize, that's what's hurting the sport. You know, like I said, when you got in the UFC, freaking Usman and Masvidal, they fight each other on a 1 week notice. And we got Canelo not fighting Charlo for 6 years. We have Terrence and Errol Spence drama that's been on for such a long time. I mean, at this moment in time, I just feel like, oh, hold on, I'm receiving a call. Yeah, hello? 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 Well, I guess my man call dropped again. I don't know what happened. Oh, you there? Hello?
Oh wait. Oh, you talking to me? I didn't know.
Oh, okay. You see, you can hear me. Okay.
No, I'm here.
I got you. So all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, you know, hopefully, you know, fights start getting materialized, because the UFC, you see the biggest fights, the biggest fight last year in the UFC was Usman versus Masvidal, and that fight was made on a 1 week notice. And you know, in the sport of boxing, a fighter will have a year notice, and the fight won't get made. So it's a lot of politics. There's a lot of things that's involved. There's a lot of, you know, like the fans say, ducking going on. So hopefully the fights will get made, because we tired of talking about fights. We really got to see something cooking. With that being said, great talking with you. I got a lot of callers apparently on the line, so I'm gonna start I'm gonna start picking them up. All right.
All right, man. You take it easy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate it. I didn't know I had that missed callers. Man. How you doing, Aki? Who this is and where are you calling from?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
My name is Ronaldo. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Say it again.
My name is Ronaldo. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Arizona, what's going on, my brother? So, you know, you want to talk about any particular topic, or you want me to go ahead and dive into the next business at hand?
Yeah, I want to talk about Tank versus Mario Barrios.
Okay, how you feel about that fight?
I feel like Tank struggles to make 135, and Tank does not have a good power at 135. He struggled with Gamboa. He could have knocked him out to the 12th round. So, like, what makes you think that Tank is going to sweep Mario at 140? Mario is a natural 140 pounder.
Yeah, this is a dangerous fight. I mean, he taking a gamble for sure. I mean, I don't know why he doing it. Obviously, I guess Floyd Mayweather, he trying to keep the momentum going, fighting Cruz. You don't want to go back in competition. So I think Floyd, he want to keep his. I think he want to keep him on pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken. And one way to do so, you got to keep the competition up very high. So to keep the momentum going, he couldn't get Ryan in the ring. So since Ryan obviously was trolling Tank, the best way to go about it is fight a dangerous opponent. And Mario Barrios, he's a good fighter, a rangy fighter. He has a great jab, great combinations, and he fought on Tank last undercard, if I'm not mistaken. He fought on Floyd on Gervonta Tank Davis last fight. He was on the undercard. I think he on the Cruz fight itself. So we already seen what he could do. He's a really great fighter, a good fighter. Excuse me. You know, he throws good combinations. And it's gonna be a tough fight for Tank. You know, Tank better come ready, because he has a huge disadvantage on his side. I'm talking about, he's the smaller guy. He just fought at 130, and he's a small guy. He likes to eat. So obviously he be having a hard time making weight. So he should make the 140-pound weight pretty comfortably. But you wanna bulk up to that weight, but you don't want to just like
Absolutely, yeah.
you know, you don't want to just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna fight at my walking around weight. Nah, you want to bulk up to that weight, and to bulk up, you got to put muscle on, you got to train right, you got to eat right. So hopefully that's what Tank is doing. It's going to be a very dangerous fight. So who you favor in that fight?
Well, I have one more question. Do you see a little bit of Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios? I mean, they're both 5'10". Like, think about it. It's like Tank fighting Ryan a little bit in the similarities I see.
Yeah, but I think Mario, he more comfortable in the inside stylistically. I just think Mario is a little different. I mean, as far as power and speed, Ryan got more power and speed. But as far as, I think Mario got a better jab, and he could fight in the inside. He's just more comfortable fighting in the inside overall. On the other hand, Ryan, he shells up in the inside. He panics. He does not know what to do in the inside. So yeah, this actually is a good point. They the same height, so he gonna give Tank not the same look, but at least you're facing a guy with similar attributes, which could prepare him, or at least it could build up to a Ryan fight if Ryan is willing to stop trolling and come to the table and fight Tank.
All right, that's my next question. Dude, I don't think Ryan was never clout chasing, to be honest.
Yeah, hold on. You got to tell me who you picking. Mario Barrios or Tank? Who you got?
Oh, I got Mario. Only due because he's a natural 140 pounder, and I feel like, that's mainly because of that.
Well,
the height advantage.
What's your thoughts on old media? They saying that Gervonta Tank Davis is going up against a huge disadvantage. He's because obviously he's the smaller guy, but they said he cherry picking.
He's 5'5", right?
Yeah, he 5'5", but now they turn they turn around. He cherry picking. Yeah, how you cherry pick a guy that you having a huge disadvantage against? That don't sound like that shit. That's cherry picking. Who cherry picks? Moving up 2 weight divisions, fighting an undefeated champion.
Yeah, you got a point there. But I mean, Barrios, his first fight was at 122 pounds. Think about that.
Yeah, but some people grow. I mean, when I was a kid, when I was in middle school, I was what? I think I was a small kid, and then when I was in high school, I grew like a feet or two. You know what I'm saying? So some people grow,
growth spurt, right?
Yeah, like I remember, like for example, Gary Russell, when he was in the amateurs, he was at 126, and then he turned pro. He's still at 126. He's 30 years old. He's still at 126, and then you have other fighters that grow as they grow faster than others. So it's just all about the growth. Like some people, like Tio, for example, he grew a lot. He was when he was younger, he was a small guy. He looking like 122 pounder, and you look at him today, he could hardly make 135. So I don't look at that too much because different people grow differently. Some people, will gain 2 inches in a couple years as far as their height. Some other people will grow taller so fast where they go from 5 feet to 6 feet in a year or two. So I don't look at that too much. When it comes to that.
Yeah. All right, I have a topic. I want to get on topic about the Ryan Garcia clout chasing thing.
Yes, sir.
Jim?
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah, so I'm saying that Ryan Garcia was not a clout chaser because Manny came to him, and Manny already had a contract and everything in front of Ryan Garcia's face. The fight was 95% done, and the things fell out because of Manny and his end. So, Ryan was promoting the Tank fight already, but Ryan saw a big opportunity because there was already a contract sent to his team. So I don't understand how he was clout chasing.
Okay, is he fighting Pacquiao next?
No, it fell out on his end. On his end, though, not Ryan's end.
On whose end?
On Manny Pacquiao's end.
So you think
the person did not want to put up the money for it?
You think Pacquiao clout chasing?
No. The fight didn't happen because of Manny. It fell out on his end, his team.
Why you say that?
That's what I just read on the media.
Well, let me tell you the facts. The facts is that Pacquiao was the one that actually reached out to Ryan Garcia and his team, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, he reached out. Yeah, correct.
That's a fact. Also, it was a Golden Boy member that blocked a Pacquiao member on Twitter. That's not Pacquiao team that did it. It was Golden Boy team that blocked a member of Pacquiao team on Twitter when they negotiated. So that's not something you do.
Was that Eric Goldner?
I don't know who it is in particular. I forgot the name of the guy, but it's been confirmed that they did it. So the main thing here is you don't do that during serious negotiations. That's not how you operate business. And then you constantly hear Ryan Garcia team, from Canelo to his trainer to Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, you name it. Everybody keep telling Pacquiao. I mean, everybody keep telling Ryan, you're not ready. You need some time. He gonna be ready in 2-3 fights. The Pacquiao fight is too dangerous. But have you ever heard anybody from Pacquiao team that said, Pacquiao, you shouldn't fight this young bull?
Freddie Roach said that would be a tough fight against Ryan Garcia.
Man, Freddie Roach said he said Ryan is a tough fight.
Yeah, he said Ryan is a tough fight. Correct. I'm not capping about that. There's a video on ES News about that.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm surprised he said that, but I mean, it is going to be like, it's not a walk in the park. I mean, obviously Ryan could punch.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he's young. Yeah,
Ryan got that.
You didn't hear no one say it's too early. I don't like that fight. I don't like that fight for Pacquiao. Pacquiao's too old. Did anybody from Pacquiao team say, I don't like the fight, Pacquiao too old for a young bull like Ryan?
No, okay. I did not hear about that.
Exactly. But did you hear someone from Ryan team say that?
Nope.
Yes, there is. Canelo Alvarez trainer. He said he don't like the Pacquiao fight for Ryan.
Oh, yeah, Eddie Reynoso, right?
And he said he
did not like that fight.
And he said, I have a decision. You know, like he has an influence on Golden Boy promotion. Like his opinion has an influence on Golden Boy promotion. Canelo himself said the same thing. And like a lot of people from Golden Boy, they said the same thing. And so, like I said, at the end of the day, you see Pacquiao, he gave up his belt, which he got stripped of his WBA belt during negotiations with Ryan because he was so sincere about making the fight. So it wasn't Pacquiao at all. It was Ryan. Like I said, what he did, he clout chased Tank to make an excuse why he not fighting Devin when he's Devin mandatory. Then he used Pacquiao name to escape the Gervonta Tank Davis fight since he done trolled him so hard in front of Mike Tyson. And then he obviously did the same thing against Pacquiao by using all these other names as T.O. and everybody else. You know, Golden Boy said they more interested in T.O. and then the Pacquiao fight was off the table. But answer this question. So why would Ryan Garcia pull out of the Gervonta Tank Davis fight if the negotiations with Pacquiao just started?
I don't know. To be honest, I can't answer that. But I don't understand. But he's been calling out Tank since like 2017, though. So how
they started negotiating. Ryan and Tank started negotiation to fight. Ryan said he's the A side. Tank told him, you can have the A side. I don't care. I just want to knock you out.
Yeah, I remember that.
So Ryan said, he was like, listen, at the end of the day, you know, I got a bigger fight on the table. And he announced that he's going to fight Pacquiao next. He said, like, you don't announce something like that until it's official. Right? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then we hear later on that it's like, it was nowhere close to being done. It's like, no, you said 95%. That was actually false.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't that close to being done. They said that fight was nowhere close to being done because the first thing they talk about is
they had
money.
A venue picked out already.
Yeah, but according to Golden Boy, that fight was nowhere near to being done. It was just talks. Golden Boy said it was just a dream and it will remain as a dream. So that don't sound like that fight was 95% done, does it? When you say the fight was just a dream and it will remain as a dream. Oh shit! Hold on, I'll call right back. Oh, man, why the hell?
The number you are dialing is.
Oh man, my man. My man just dipped. Hold on. I had a couple questions for you. Man. So, like I was telling my man before I lost him, that at the end of the day, or at least tonight, you know, you don't pull out of negotiations with Javante to announce a Pacquiao fight that's not done. If anything, you negotiate with both teams to get leverage against Pacquiao and Tank. To tell Tank, hey, we negotiating with Pacquiao, man. If you ain't gonna accept this deal, I'm walking out. And then you do the same thing with Pacquiao. You negotiate with both teams to see what better offers on the table. But Ryan pulls out of the Tank fight right away as soon as negotiations started, and then he goes to Pacquiao negotiations, then pulls out of that negotiations where Golden Boy completely killed that fight, and he's still trolling on Instagram, claiming that the fight is on when Golden Boy already announced that the fight was off. So if I heard about it, if old media reported it, if everyone heard about it, why is Ryan Garcia still misinformed, not knowing that the Pacquiao fight is off? And he goes on Instagram the next day after the fight was announced to being officially off. He goes and says, this is not an exhibition. This is a real fight. You're telling me that's not clout chasing? You announcing something that it's a real fight, not an exhibition, when that's old news. The new news is the fight being off. Why the hell are you still talking about this fight being a real fight, not an exhibition? This is what Pacquiao said a day after the fight was announced being canceled. So this is trolling to the max. And then why not go back to negotiating with Tank? He didn't do so. So like I said, at the end of the day, Ryan got caught in the middle of clout chasing thanks to AKHi's new media. But let me go ahead and pick up another call. How you doing, AKHi? Who this is and where you calling from?
Hey, this is Chris from Mississippi, man. I was trying to see can you hear me because I'm riding in my car on my way to work.
Yeah, man, your voice sounds super sharp. I'm not sure if you're talking out of like the Bluetooth or maybe
yeah, it is. Hold on, I'll take it off. Hold
on. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, you sound much better now.
Oh yeah, I'm on my way to work, man. I was in my car and I was trying to make sure I got in.
Yes,
how you
sir.
doing, Akeem?
Man,
Chris from Mississippi, man. It's been a minute.
Yes, sir. I recognize your voice, Chris. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, brother. I'm good.
Well, let's
talk
about.
I was calling about.
Oh yeah, you got a topic in mind.
I'm with you.
I got you.
No. I'm with whatever you want to talk about.
Oh well, let's dive into this because this is a hot topic right here. The WBC president Suleiman, he said he's going to change the mandatory rules because of Canelo versus Ivini, obviously the cherry pick of the decade. He said that he's only going to enforce or mandate a fighter that has a chance of winning. But it's so hypocritical, right? Because why didn't the WBC mandate Jamal Charlo when he was Canelo Alvarez mandatory? But they stripped Canelo and gave him a way out and saved face for him by giving him a French fries title, a witness protection title, the franchise designation, right? When that was a 50-50 fight. And then they said the purpose of the franchise designation was to make bigger fights happen, right? Like a fight that's bigger than your mandatory. And then now we see Canelo Alvarez his last fight against Avini, a fighter coming off a loss and 2-year layoff. Not just that, if you look at his fights before he lost, he fought a guy with 14 losses, and the guy before that, he fought a guy with 3 wins, 33 losses, and 3 draws. This is a guy that Canelo Alvarez cherry-picked and requested to fight for David Benavidez' WBC title. So he pretty much, this is equivalence of a championship fight. And Canelo Alvarez cherry-picked Avini, a fighter that he previously wanted to fight last year during the pandemic. And this fight was such a cherry-pick that DAZN ended up rejecting the fight, and he fought DAZN for rejecting the fight. So at the end of the day, he ended up losing his whole contract with DAZN of $365 million for wanting to cherry-pick Avini. And can you believe it? The pound-for-pound #1 cherry picker of all time, Canelo Alvarez, he still pursued this fight, and he still brought it to existence, and he still fought Avini Yildirim after he lost his contract with DAZN. So what's your take on the hypocrisy, the ultimate hypocrisy by the WBC, claiming that now they're going to look at the rulings and change it and only mandate fighters that are, that are worthy to challenge the champion and are 50-50 fights, when they completely did the opposite with Canelo Alvarez?
For sure. The thing about it is, I wouldn't necessarily call it hypocrisy. Only reason why I say that is because I don't see them going back on this. You understand what I'm saying? It would definitely be hypocrisy if he was to fight somebody that was relevant, but not Charlo. But when it's time for Charlo to fight him, they go back to this. I believe now. I don't know if you remember the last time we talked. Maybe I don't remember which session we were talking about, but I said that Canelo is going to end up costing DAZN a lot of money. They're going to end up costing DAZN a lot of money, and they're going to have some type of breaking point. I believe when DAZN seen the route that Canelo was going after the money that they presented to him, it wasn't going to work in their favor. It was no way it was going to work in their favor. He was supposed to be the cash cow. And if he's not bringing in the money with the fight, there was no need to even sign him. And I really think the WBC are seeing that their backs are against the wall right now. The last 3 fights, terrible. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to, if you're going to represent the WBC, it's okay. It's okay for Suleiman if he got a challenge, right? If it's not necessarily Charlo, if he got some type of a challenge, some small challenge, you know what I'm saying, that would be worthy of having that franchise title, they probably would have swept this under the rug. But after he got his sparring partner, you bring in your sparring partner to fight, coming off a loss. I think their backs were pushed against the wall. I think they had an idea in mind when they started that franchise title thing, but it's not going to where they're going. Especially the fact that DAZN is not getting their money out of Canelo.
Yeah, but
that's my problem.
Right. Yeah, well, see, that's the thing is the whole, like, okay, I understand if you're gonna make certain rules, like with a franchise designation. That's why I said it's the ultimate hypocrisy. You said it's not the hypocrisy because is now, Bob. Excuse me. You said why you said it's not hypocrisy to you? Hello? 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 Yeah, my man disappeared. Yeah, Chris, can you hear me? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and talk. Okay, hold on. Just stay on. I don't know what's going on.
The number
Chris, just remain on the line, and I'll pick up your call. Hold on. I don't know what's going on right now.
The
Hello?
conference.
Hello?
Please announce yourself.
Yo, Chris.
Akeem.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So,
Akeem, can you hear me?
yeah, now we can hear you. Hey, so why you said it wasn't hypocrisy? You said it's not hypocrisy because he just now said it? Is that what you mean?
No. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean it because I get, because it's been 3 fights, right? You know what I'm saying? And my thing was it was a terrible decision then. You understand what I'm saying? It was a terrible decision then. And I think that they gone back on their words because they're losing now. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think they did it because of trying to escape the Charlo thing. I think that whatever he had in mind to making this decision about this franchise title and stripping him of that title and giving Charlo that belt, whatever decision they had at that time, I think they had a bigger picture in mind. But yeah. I think that whatever that bigger picture was, it's crumbled.
I'm going to tell you what the bigger picture is. The NBF rule. The NBF, no black fighter allowed. That's what it is. Because, see, Canelo Alvarez...
I can respect that.
You see, Canelo Alvarez, at the end of the day, or at least the night, Canelo Alvarez, he didn't want to fight Charlo. He wanted no part of Charlo. Like Charlo pointed out, they made this franchise designation because of him. Canelo Alvarez is the pioneer of the franchise designation of the, because what the franchise is the WBC witness protection franchise that's better than the witness protection that 6ix9ine got, because Canelo Alvarez moves more strategically than 6ix9ines do in real life. I'm telling you right now, think about it. Like Charlo said, when he moved up, when he was a champion at 154, Canelo avoided him. He moved to 160. Canelo moved to 168. Now, if he moves up to 168, he truly believed Canelo will move up to 175. So at the end of the day, or at least tonight, you gotta keep in mind that this title originated with Charlo as soon as he became Canelo Alvarez mandatory. And then it's not a coincidence that when you had Devin Haney, as soon as he became Lomachenko mandatory, he did the same thing. The franchise title, what the purpose of it is, when they strip a fighter for ducking, in order to save face, they give him this franchise title to say, hey, he didn't really duck. He just got another trophy. We elevated him when he really got stripped because he ducked his mandatory. That's all it is to it. Because you can't have two titles in the same organization. Now, if you're going to say, like the WBC said, that the whole purpose of the franchise is to avoid unnecessary mandatory, this is what he said when he made the title. He said the purpose of the franchise was to avoid unnecessary mandatory, right? So in a way,
for sure,
in a way, the WBC president tried to act like Canelo, fighting Charlo is fighting an unnecessary fight. He tried to say Charlo was an unnecessary mandatory. So if that's the case, if we go in by what the WBC president said, isn't it hypocritical for Canelo to fight Avini? Because Avini is an unnecessary mandatory. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, 100%. But that was my thing. That was the reason why I said that. Because since Canelo chose that fight, it put their backs against the wall and made them say, well, whatever we had put in place for this not to take place, we got to switch this up. Because I guarantee you, if he would have landed something like a Billy Joe Saunders, somebody like that, this would have never came about. They would have put that in everybody's face and say that was a legitimate fight. Yeah, it's a more legitimate fight than Albini. Yes, but it's not Charlo.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But you can't bring in a sparring partner and have them say, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, now
back me on this.
The right thing to do for the WBC president was to make Canelo Alvarez activate and petition for the franchise title at 168 to avoid the unnecessary mandatory against Avini, right? Because If the purpose of the franchise designation is to avoid unnecessary mandatories to make bigger fights happen so you won't get stripped. So why not activate the franchise and give up your regular title to Ivini? Because that's an unnecessary, meaningful, that's an
unnecessary fight. Correct.
Yeah, unnecessary fight, right? That's the right thing to do. But Canelo did the complete opposite.
Absolutely.
And he fought Ivini. And obviously, he clearly didn't fight Charlo. He ducked Charlo. So that, like you said, that put their back against the wall, and now they forced to contradict in themselves and look crazy and all over the place. So if David Benavidez does become Canelo Alvarez mandatory, if Canelo does become franchise at 168, then that's gonna totally
they can't go back now.
Canelo already exposed himself for fighting Ivini, but now fighting Charlo.
Absolutely.
But that's just going to expose him further and show how hypocritical and how much of a cherry king picker is Canelo Alvarez at the end of the day. But I got a super chat real quick. Peace, AKHi. The new rule is more BS. Now they will insult black fighters by saying they can't win. Mandatories will become new NBF position for the WBC. And I agree. See, now they're going to tell the fighters on the coincidental list, oh, you ain't fought anybody yet. You got to prove yourself. And then in order for him to prove himself, he's going to have to fight somebody. But when he's being avoided, he can't fight anybody. So they're going to keep telling him, you ain't fought nobody. You need to prove yourself. So he will stay in his position until the champion moves to another division, so on and so forth. So just like my man pointed out, it's like a strategic plan to avoid and blackball all these fighters on the coincidental list. That's exactly what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Because they keep telling Devin Haney. You see Devin Haney. You see Linares turn down the fight. Fortuna, Tio, Ryan, everybody you can name, Lomachenko, and then they tell him you ain't fought nobody. But they can't name anybody that's willing to fight him. So this is the game they playing. They tell you, oh, you need to prove yourself. Like with Shakur, for example, they keep telling Shakur, oh, he ain't fought nobody. When no one is willing to fight Shakur. So how the hell he gonna prove himself if no one willing to step up to the table? And then they have the audacity to say, like some trainers, they have the audacity to say, Shakur, no one, he needs to stop being protected. Protected? They protecting fighters from him. They protect the fighters from him,
Absolutely.
but they trying to act like he's the one being protected. Are you serious? So you see the game they playing is just a bunch of game of narratives and old media agenda. They have a big machine, so they able to brainwash a lot of the casual fans, and they make them a decaf. They make a lot of the casual fans a bunch of decafs with the machine they have. They push the agendas that they want to they want to push, like they did with Lomachenko. They made Lomachenko, they erased his loss on more than one occasion. So some people started believing that Lomachenko was really undefeated. I had people coming at me telling me he didn't lose to Salido. I'm like, are you serious? Like, that's how crazy and powerful their machine is. And this is what they doing is the NBF rule. And Canelo Alvarez is the pioneer of the NBF rule.
Absolutely.
So they keep telling Canelo Alvarez, man, you don't got to fight none of these fighters on the coincidental list. We're still gonna call you the best. You don't got to fight no undefeated black fighters. You don't got to fight any undefeated Mexican fighters. We still gonna call you the best,
right?
Because they got sick and tired when Floyd Mayweather was beating up all these fighters that they favored. So they don't want to see another Floyd Mayweather. They prefer to kill the sport of boxing and watch it watered down as long the fighter on the top that they want to keep continuing calling pound for pound number one is a fighter on the hope list, like Canelo Alvarez, when he's not, in my humble opinion. I felt like pound for pound number one is Terrence Crawford.
I agree with you. My point. I don't want you to think that I was saying that you was wrong. All I was saying was that what you just said explained what I was saying. My point was they don't want him to fight Charlo. They don't want him to take the serious fights, but they want him to take a fight that will validate the reason why he got that franchise title. You understand what I'm saying? I think this last fight, they could have did this 2 fights ago. They could have done this 2 fights ago with Canelo, and they chose not to. But I believe this Albini fight blew up in their faces. It blew up in their faces, and now they have to try to backtrack. And don't get me wrong, I think they never wanted him to fight Charlo. They never wanted him in that position. They never wanted him in a position to where he could lose. But they felt like he had to take some type of a challenge. Not Albini. No, you can't take your sparring partner and have me go out here and explain this to the people and say that this was a good fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man,
how do you get me to go out here? How do you get me to go out here and explain that this is a good fight? That's why I said if he would have got like Billy Joe Saunders, they probably would have taken that and said, this is a great fight. This is a wonderful fight, no matter what no one said. But your sparring partner, they can't protect you on that.
Yeah, and what's crazy, let me say this. Let's not forget, let's put things in perspective. Canelo, man, I don't know what it is. How can you even order the organization to do that? Like, how can the WBC, to save face, he blamed on Canelo and said Canelo requested it? Man, Canelo ain't the president. You is. How you gonna allow the fighter act like he the president? Like Canelo just ordering the president to do all type of things that he want him to do. Like Canelo last year.
That's goofball.
Yeah, let's not forget. Let's put things in perspective. Canelo requested the WBC to order the fight between him and Ivini to fight for the WBC vacant title, right? So he was supposed to fight Ivini for the vacant belt of David Benavidez. Now, they received so much backlash for that, they figured, okay, we're not going to be able to get away with that. So what we're going to do, Canelo ended up fighting Caleb Smith. So Caleb Smith was the WBA super champion. They allowed Canelo to fight for the WBC title against Caleb Smith when Canelo was not nowhere near the rankings, and Caleb Smith was the WBA super champion. So he wasn't on the rankings either and had nothing to do with the WBC title. But they gave them the title. Like, they just pretty much gave the winner that title for no freaking reason. They, you know what I mean? Like, they had nothing to do with that WBC title under one rule. That one rule was, hey, you got to fight your mandatory in 6 months. You got to turn around and fight your mandatory right away because you just fought for a vacant title. Against who, though? He fought against Caleb Smith, who had nothing to do with the WBC title. But like I said, they bend the rules when it comes to their favorite fighters. And then they told Canelo, you have to fight Ivini. We're going to mandate Ivini. If you could fight for this vacant title against Caleb Smith. But in order to sell the story of the Ivini fight later, they made him the mandatory. But even when they made him the mandatory, it still exposed their MBF agenda because they didn't mandate Charlo.
I got
you. Get what I'm saying?
When Charlo was,
so
Charlo was the man. I'm following you now.
Either way you look at it, all around the board, this is the cherry pick of the century because of the fact that Canelo lost his contract with DAZN, cherry picking like that. He cherry picked so hard, DAZN was like, man, like, come on, Canelo, like, let us breathe. At the end of the day, we giving you $33 million so you can fight your sparring partner. Right. So you can fight a fighter coming off a loss.
For sure.
Come on, man. You're going to fight a fighter that fought someone with 3 wins and 33 losses, and you want us to pay you $33 million? They were like, man, scratch that contract. They ripped that contract in half.
Absolutely.
Man, that's why this is
the
cherry pick.
The last time we talked. I said that the last time we talked. This was before Albini was even mentioned. He wasn't nowhere even in the equation. But I saw the route that Canelo was going. And I said, there's no way DAZN is going to make this money back. There's no way. There's no way. And when the Albini fight happened, I said, this is crazy. I didn't even take off work to watch this fight. Man, I take off work to watch fights.
No, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe that Canelo will destroy his legacy and fight him. And what's crazy is they built this fight as a legacy fight. Like Canelo kept saying things like, this is a legacy fight for me. And I'm like, what? And he kept saying, this is the legacy I want to leave behind, that I fought the best. And I'm like, are you serious? Like they were comparing him to LeBron, Kobe, Floyd, and all the greats. And I'm like, are you even serious? Like he fighting Ivini. And y'all trying to act like he fighting the best. Like this is how how strong is old media machine is that they want to push this silly narrative that Canelo's pound for pound number one. and he fight the best when he clearly doesn't, and he's just not pound for pound number one. Yeah, he is pound for pound number one in Europe. He's Europe pound for pound number one, and he's the number one pound for pound cherry picker in the sport of boxing. But with that being said, my man, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up another caller. I got a lot of callers on the line.
I got you, bro.
All right, hey Chris, man, you got to call back, man. You don't be calling that often.
Oh yeah. I work at night, so sometimes I have to catch. See, I just pulled up at work just now.
Okay,
so sometimes I have to catch you.
Yes,
you
sir,
know what I'm saying?
sir.
So I got you, brother.
I understand. I got you for sure. Yes, sir. Hello, how you doing, Aki? Who this is, or where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Aki? It's Kieran from Albany, New York.
Oh man, hey, let me play this clip for you. Let me get your take on this right here. You know what I'm saying? We got some. I got some breaking news for you. Here it is. I want you to hear this clip.
Immediately after that,
let's hear it.
To a guy who I would say,
hold on.
Let's do it immediately after that fight. To a guy who I would figure, if I was handling a fight, I'd say maybe I don't want to fight him for a minute. Maybe I'd like to make a title defense or two before fight a guy you can't hit. But you went right to him and said, "Let's do it." Why?
Because Shakur Stevenson has been talking for a long time, calling me out. You know, a fighter who's ducking. So in no case, you know, I'm not scared of no fighter, and I just want to fight. So let's do it. You know, I'm not scared of no fighter. I duck no fighter, and the best have to fight the best. So if people want to see us fight, I'll gladly do it.
Why would you say?
So you heard him. He said, "Hey, he ain't ducking nobody." Even though he announced the Vargas fight the other day. What's your thoughts on that?
That's just an absolute disgrace to Mexican boxing. Like, I don't care what anyone has to say. Oscar Valdez, you are the biggest pussy next to Canelo. You know, like when it comes to you trying to keep that same energy with fighting contemporaries, because you should have fought Shakur Stevenson at 126, but now you make like that same excuse to say, well, maybe I should fight Vargas instead of fighting Shakur at 130, knowing that Shakur is guaranteed to fight you next. So what is going to be the issue of not fighting Shakur? Because if you don't fight him again, you already know what's going to happen. You're going to lose a lot of credibility. And on top of that, you're not going to get a good payday next time you fight, and you're going to be laughed at. So I just don't really take anything for granted until I see it, because I think Oscar Valdez, he has like a lot to prove to me, and I really hope he fights Shakur next. But this is just basically I would say smoke and mirrors to keep it fair.
Oh, so you think he blowing smoke, huh?
Yeah. Do you realize that, if that was Jaime Munguia saying that, do you think anybody would ever care, about that? But for some odd reason, when it comes to Oscar Valdez, it's like he's being protected, and yet, he thinks that he's accomplished something so big, but yet he still has a lot to prove. I got more respect for Jose Ramirez over Oscar Valdez, because one, he's not ducking nobody, and two, he's showing, his true colors of how to be a all-time great fighter, regardless if you win, lose, or draw. And I think more people are just disregarding people like that have good work ethic, and they're just basically just falling for the bait and switch, propaganda of basically listening to what fighters say, but then their actions don't prove it otherwise.
Right. Talk is cheap. At the end of the day, I agree with you. I respect the fighter that's willing to step in the ring, win or lose or draw. At the end of the day, if you're willing to fight the best, lose or win, it does not matter. Like I said before, if Canelo fights David Benavidez, Charlo, and Andrade and end up losing all these three fights back to back to back, I promise you I will still watch his fight after that, because he lost to the best and he fought the best. And if he wins, I will still watch the fights after that. So as long you lose to the best, it's okay. You know, so I agree with you 1,000%. At the end of the day, you know, I got more respect for Ramirez more than I have respect for Oscar, because like you said, he willing to hop in the ring and fight the best, you know, win or lose or draw. On the other hand, Ramirez, you know, Oscar Valdez, he talks a good game. He says the right things. Yeah, I fight him, but behind closed doors, you know, he's telling Top Rank, no, I don't want to fight. You know, because if you want the fight and Shakur want the fight, Bob want the fight, then why wouldn't the fight get made, right? So we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, though. We're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. We're going to see what's going on. We're going to see if it does come to fruition. We're not going to jump the gun. And like I said, I don't want people to say I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt. So I will give him the benefit of the doubt until I hear some more news. But with that being said, Eddie Hearn and Haney have reached out to Lomachenko manager. You think Lomachenko going to take the offer and accept the deal?
No. I think Lomachenko is going to do the same thing what Canelo is going to do. He's going to fight some bum, and then he's going to keep making that excuse to say, oh, no, Devin Haney, you know, who has he fought? You know, he needs to show me one good fight before I step inside, you know, the ring with him, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, Lomachenko, I don't even like you, dude. It's like, you know, I never liked you ever since you came into boxing. And I just hope, like, you know, if that fight does get made, I want to see Devin knock him out, because people like, you know, people like that think that, oh, just because I won a couple gold medals in the Olympics makes me such a great fighter. That doesn't mean shit. Tyrell Biggs, right? He got like a gold medal, right, in the Olympics, and when he fought Mike Tyson knocked him out. Like, yeah, he was good at first by simply outboxing Mike, but guess what? When Mike pressured him and Tyrell, you know, gave up on his game plan, you know, he got knocked out. So, you know, I just think, you know, Lomachenko, he thinks like just because he's Lomachenko, he's just going to get all that support from, you know, like the mainstream media to think that, you know, he's just going to, like, you know, walk through Haney. No, dude, you know, you don't have that skill set that many people have been criticizing you for the past couple of years. And it pretty much shows in his bluff that he's just creating all this drama until he has balls to actually fight Haney, and then his true colors will come out, because I don't think Lomachenko is really that good. And I really hope that he gets knocked out by a guy like Haney to show that, you know, just because you have so many accolades in the amateurs before pros doesn't mean anything until you get hit by somebody that has that same hunger as you used to back in your old days, that wanted it more than you.
Right. Yep. No, I totally agree. So
yeah.
With that being said, you know, hopefully the fight does get made. We definitely will see. You know, so you know, you know, we definitely going to see. You know what I'm saying? But hey, my camera died on me, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the show, and I definitely will be, you know, right back this week or later on next week.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Great talking with you, my brother.
Hey.
Yes, sir. And to all the people that's tuning in, appreciate you guys for tuning in. And I have a video dropping next on Charlo versus David Benavidez. So you guys make sure you guys tune in. Peace, and we out you.